Colt has long been regarded as one of the most innovative network operators and service providers in the business, and that reputation hasn't changed under the leadership of Keri Gilder, who was appointed as Colt's CEO in May 2020, just months into the global COVID-19 pandemic. So, Keri, before we get stuck into some specific topics, it's been 9 months since you took over at Colt. How are things working out, and how would you describe Colt as a company in 2021?
So I think you use the word like we've always been. In our DNA is innovation, and as we look towards 2021, that's exactly where we're headed. We've, in the last 9 months, built our 3-year strategy. This strategy has 2 major pillars. One is around increasing our relevance to the enterprise through digital transformation, around SD-WAN, around automation and customer experience. And on the other side, it's really co-building, co-developing, co-creating with the cloud builders. And that also includes building out more of our fiber asset base to the data centers and the areas of the cloud where the enterprise need that connectivity now more than ever based upon the pandemic. So I would say that 2020 was a record year for us. It was fantastic on both the data side and the voice side, and 2021 is starting out in the right direction as we start to execute upon that 3-year strategy.
So we've got a few specific things to talk about today, and one of the topics taking up more time and attention across the whole industry is sustainability, and how network operators and their partners, their customers and their investors can do their bit as responsible global citizens. So does Colt have a sustainability strategy?
We absolutely do. As an organization, we want to transform the way that the world works through the power of connectivity. We believe that on a fundamental level, that this includes sustainability at its core. We need to do this for our customers. We're seeing more RFPs come in that include sustainability as a higher weighted option. And so we need to help them in their journey on sustainability. And we need to continue on our journey into being a zero carbon footprint operator in the near future. We believe this starts with the management, and this is literally at all levels across the organization. So we aim to integrate this into everything that we do, literally from encouraging offices to go paperless and use LED lights, to shifting to 100% electric cars in our fleet, and then also mandating employees to undergo environmental awareness training on an annual basis so we can stay up with the different changes within sustainability, and we're continuing to drive this as a core element of our strategy.
And what does this strategy and all those changes mean for Colt as a network operator and as a service provider?
What it means to us is that we have to make decisions based upon sustainable actions. And that means when we're looking at build outs of our future network, we also have to understand that whatever we put in, something needs to come out. And that has not been in the DNA of the telco industry in the past. We've had a habit of just continuing to add on instead of actually remove. What that means for Colt is that we actually have 9 networks now in place. And 2 of them are quite old and legacy, taking up significant amounts of power and space. We've estimated that if we remove those 2 networks, we could actually save the power of over 5,500 European homes. And that's where we start to make a significant contribution to becoming zero carbon or carbon neutral in the future. So it's our responsibility as an industry to not only look forward as far as what we're doing, but also looking backward as to what we can do to readjust and to re-energize the environments that we've been putting into place for the last 20, 30 years.
And this brings us neatly onto another topic, and that's cultural transformation. How has the culture changed at Colt in the past year under new leadership and under very different global conditions?
I think a couple of things that have significantly changed. I mean, number one, just like we're doing this interview, everybody is remote. Over 95% of our employee population is remote. One of the cultural advantages that has provided is in the area of inclusivity. We feel that in this environment, the hierarchy has been significantly broken down. And now it's more about impact of the employee on the future strategy, on our business as usual, and on our customer experience to our customer base and enabling that to happen. So there's definitely been a leveling of the hierarchy. There's been a sense of inclusivity that we hadn't been able to recognize before, and we're continuing that strong innovation culture through different initiatives that we're driving forward. One of them is that we built our strategy within Colts, even in the pandemic, and we didn't have any whiteboards around us, but we were still able to do it. That was cross-pollinated across the entire organization, and it was also up and down again the hierarchy. So we had 10 strategic work groups that worked on it, and through that, we now have a strategy that is 100% embraced and believed in by the company, and that is a very strong. It gives us very strong momentum for the future.
What are the important changes that still need to happen, and why are they important and necessary?
Well, I think there's a couple things that still need to happen. One, we still need to focus on mental health and well-being as we continue in a remote working environment, and the pandemic and the uncertainty around it continues. Well-being is at the heart of everything that we do and will continue to be as far as we're in this situation. The second thing that we need to look at is really cross-industry collaboration. When we look at the new platform, when we look at the new ecosystem and all of the different elements that have to come into play to provide that digital journey for the enterprise client, we need to be working better together. We need to be more aligned around our APIs, and we need to be driving a combined use case so that we can better serve the enterprise client.
Now, one of the key areas of focus in the industry, and you mentioned this earlier on, is automation. Now, that can have a positive outcome for productivity and operations, but what does it mean for your workforce and for your relations with customers?
I think that there's a element, again, of this philosophy of adding more. And the reality is we can have human resources, and that's very important, but we also need to have digital, workforces, and those need to sit side by side. Part of that is because the speed of service has increased dramatically in the last couple of years. We saw this with our on-demand platform, where during the pandemic, we were turning service up fully automated within 3 minutes, and that used to take us 3 months. When we look at some of our book-to-bill type of systems, our quote-to-order systems, that process and that tooling was taking us, up to 3 days in some instances. It's now taking us 1 minute and 17 seconds. This is where automation comes in. It's speed to market. It's ensuring that we're providing the insights. We're providing the proactive monitoring and maintenance that needs to happen so that we can ensure that we're delivering a reliable service and a service that is making it easy for our customers to engage with.
Okay, well, those are great advances there in terms of automation. Now, partnerships and ecosystem relationships are of increasing importance to all players in the DSP sector. Do you think industry relationships are changing? And is there a greater desire within the industry for collaboration?
I think it's in spots. I think there's parts of the industry that are welcoming a bigger ecosystem and that those collaboration points. I still think there's parts of the industry that think that they can go it alone, and we can work in this continual procurement to procurement type of scenario and just keep it as status quo and everything will be fine. I'm of the mind that that procurement to procurement environment will no longer work in the forward economy. The cloud doesn't work that way. We have to have flexibility. There's more customization that needs to happen as we move forward. And the wider ecosystem is an absolutely critical element to how we are going to operate and how we'll continue to drive business forward. So for us at Colt, what it means is that we're launching a partnership program that's completely designed to drive that mutual value between organizations, because that's another critical part. Relationships, whether they're personal or professional, if they're one way, they're going to fall apart over time. You have to have mutual value. And when that exists, it actually creates a fantastic environment for our customers. So we believe the connectivity to cloud equation is a huge one, and we're planning to take that to the next level with many of the hyperscale providers out there, with some of our data center partners that we're working with. And we believe that this will unleash what I call distribution of innovation that will only make us better.
So you mentioned the hyperscalers there. How would you describe Colt's relationship with the likes of AWS and Azure? Is it relevant for such companies to still be described as rivals as well as partners?
I think definitely they can be described as rivals as well as partners. When it comes to Colt, it's more on the latter. We've been partnering with these organizations for a number of years now, and whether they're customers or we're providing dual solutions to the enterprise, we've became gold and premium partners with all of these major service providers. And if you look at the cloud connectivity data, what you'll see is that we're leading in those number of connections. We have over 185 now public cloud POPs, and we're reaching 90% of the overall market. We're working hand in hand with all of the innovators within those organizations to drive what's next, whether that be edge, whether that be more advances in cloud voice, whether it be looking at the connectivity element of how we provide a better service to the remote worker with a combination of some of the collaboration tools that are out there. And the beautiful thing for Colt is that we're already connected to over 900 data centers across Europe, Asia, and North America. So we are in a very good position to provide that partnership into the hyperscalers so that they can advance their businesses and provide their applications and their support back into the enterprise. So for Colt, it's definitely a partnership, but it definitely also is revealed as a competitor in some other areas of the industry.
So, Keri, finally, what does Colt need from the broader communications networking ecosystem? Where is there still room for improvement?
I think, as I said in a couple of my other answers, collaboration is key across the ecosystem, and we really need everyone and every company in the industry to understand that that is going to be a major success item for the future. So building out what was an NNI in the past with MPLS, network infrastructures is now APIs of the future. We need to be open to creating that digital environment, creating that digital mapping between our organizations, and enabling that cross-pollination of our products and services across each other's landscapes. That's going to be essential to our success. But in addition to that, and I know you were going to say that you expected this one from me, but we really do need to drive inclusion and diversity. It's not only a moral obligation, but it's a business imperative. If you look at the statistics for the telecoms industry, what you'll see very quickly is that we're bottom of the list when it comes to inclusion and diversity. All of the other industries, whether that be semiconductors or life sciences, they are the parts of the economy that are getting the top talent, the digital talent, the software talent that we actually need to survive. So unless we embrace inclusion and diversity, we are going to be in a situation where we will not have the skills of the future in order to drive the innovation that we need as an industry.
Okay, great point to end on, Keri. Thanks very much, and thank you for joining us today and bringing us up to speed with where Colt is with its strategy. Thanks very much.
Thank you.